Hello, welcome back to my channel. Big up to connect. Luke isn't here yet. He'll be here in a little while. He's on I think he said he was on a train. I can't remember. I'll check in a second. But he'll be here in a second. So, connect. We'll start with the first thing, which is Ruben Diaz contract extension to 2029. I actually loved the thumbnail where he was wearing the black suit. I love black suits. I think when it comes to suits, you need to keep a single color, or you need to get two contrasting colors. Anyhow, that's got nothing to do with the ball. Big up connects. What do you think on Ruben Diaz extension?
I am. I have. I don't know if I have mixed feelings. I like it. He's a very good centre back, especially on his day. On his day, he's one of the best centre backs in the world. Obviously, last season was obviously a drop off, and you could even argue the season before that, he just dropped his level a little bit. But overall, I'm quite happy. He does bring leadership a bit to that back line, and hopefully, in games that we need him, he can sturdy up the back line as well.
People do worry though that he's only good with Walker next to him. That's what I've been saying a lot recently. So people think that he's only good when Walker is playing next to him. What do you think of that?
I mean, I think a lot of players are going to be better when someone like Kyle Walker is next to them. You know, a lot of players are just their level is going to be elevated when you have a prime Kyle Walker next to you. And so when you lose that factor, it effectively changes up your game. You've got to play arguably a bit more smarter at that point. So, yeah, there probably was a bit of a drop-off, but I think Diaz is a top centre-back, and I think he can get back to high levels. And they might not be to the levels he used to be, but I still think he can be a very good regular centre back for us. And I don't think that Kyle Walker being next to him is a necessity. I still think he can hold his own with Mateus Nunes next to him.
Do you think though that because Ruben Diaz, we all know he's a slow player, very good in the box, he's very good defending on his feet, but he's slow. And when you play in a high line, it doesn't matter how good you are, you need some pace on you. Because you can say, positioning, but at the end of the day, when a striker is running and you are going to have to run to take care of him, the faster one wins. Sometimes it's that simple. When you're faster, you'll win a race. And Ruben Diaz isn't fast. So playing in a high line, is Mateus Nunes enough to cover there for him? Because this is why I think we need a right back, because I think Ruben Diaz is a great defender. He has a weakness. Everyone has a weakness. Haaland has weaknesses in his game. Messi has weaknesses in his game. He was very weak and not that physical. That's why they always gave him a physical striker. Every player has a weakness in the game. You need to make sure that one player's strengths can cover the other player's weakness. So for Walker, his weakness was maybe he was pretty poor in positioning. So Carl Walker has the pace with poor positioning. Ruben Diaz can bring that positioning. Walker can bring the pace. You form a good partnership. With Ruben Diaz, I don't feel like there's a partnership there with Nunes, at least defensively.
Yeah, I mean, I can agree that that obviously Nunes isn't bringing the pace. He's probably a bit quicker than Diaz, obviously, but Kyle Walker's pace is another level. And yeah, Diaz is a bit of a slower defender, and so we will suffer in games that we play a high line, which more often than not is every game. So yeah, he is going. There will probably be some suffering there. And yeah, I absolutely agree with the right back. You know, we should have gone it right back. We've been calling out for it, most City fans. And sadly, unless something incredible happens, doesn't look like that's going to happen this summer. We're going to have to wait out a year. But look, for me, he's a good defender, Diaz, and I think Ruben Diaz could really be utilised. I don't think he'll necessarily like this, but I think he can be so good, like at the end of a key game where we will sit back and just try and hold what we've got.
I think Ruben Diaz excels in a low block. I think you put him in a low block, he'll be the best defender around. I think in a low block, even he's better than Van Dijk. I think where Van Dijk is better is in the air, is just in a high line. I think that's where Van Dijk is better. But just in a low block, I think Ruben Diaz is arguably the best in the world. The problem is we don't play in low blocks. We may against a big team be forced into a low block. That will always happen when you play against a big team at some point. But throughout most of the season, we will be playing in a high line.
Yeah, and we're going to be exposed on counters is the big thing, which is why the key or the dream centre back partnership in my head has been Kusanov and Vardio. I really want to see how that would roll. It might not go well, but I really want to see us give it a try. But yeah, Diaz, absolutely. In a low block, he would be easily up there with the best in the world. That would suit him to a T. But at City, yeah, he's 90% of the games, we're going to be high and we're going to get countered. That's just how it goes.
Yeah,
we all know that.
What do you think is the solution to that, Stan? Because I would think you just play... I mean, this is what I would do. I would just play Husnov right back in a game where you think maybe you'll get countered a lot. Let's say you play a team with a lot of fast attackers. Sunderland have a lot of fast attackers this season. I would just say, okay, let's play Husnov. He's fast, he can handle that. So that's what I would do. I'm not sure if that's something you think is a good solution, because a lot of people are split there. A lot of people are saying, yeah, let's do Husnov right back. A lot of people say, I don't want Husnov right back.
I don't mind doing Kusanov right back because I don't think he's awful there. Like we saw last season, I think he did play there against Real Madrid. I believe he went up against Vinny, and he didn't do too bad. He did pretty good, I'll even say. So I don't mind seeing Kusanov right back, and I'll gladly watch him play right back this season. The only thing I worry about a little bit is if Kusanov excels at right back, and does well enough at right back to the point where the club's like, we don't need Simon anymore, and then suddenly we lose a centre back like Kusanov to the right back position. It's what partly worried me about Vardio, but it seems like the opposite things were happening with Vardio. He went to left back, but now he's coming back, and that could very well happen to Kusanov. But I do kind of want to see him at centre back, but. Absolutely, for a season where we're not going to have that right back, we're not going to have the ideal Livramento that the bulk of us were hoping for. We can have Kusanov, who probably doesn't quite do the job the same because he's a centre back playing at right back, but he can do a pretty good job in games where we need him to fill in. I think Kusanov is the best makeshift solution.
Yeah, I agree. Now, Teal does put in chat, Newcastle will beat Liverpool. You agree with that? Because, that has something to do with Man City, but just on a quick side note, I think Newcastle is looking pretty weak this season.
Yeah, Newcastle...
they're going to finish bottom half of the table, but just like compared to previous seasons.
Newcastle, I don't think will beat Liverpool just to start. And yeah, I agree that they are looking weaker. The transfer window, despite picking up recently, they have signed a couple more bodies like Thiaw from AC Milan, and I think Jacob Ramsey and Alanga, obviously, earlier on in the window. But they've obviously lost key players as well. Isak might as well be a loss at this rate with the fact that he's not playing and they aren't selling. No striker has been brought in that replacement. The visa is taking its time. Apparently, they really want him, but it's just really dragging out. I don't think they're beating Liverpool. I saw a stat like maybe half a week ago, or something like that, and it was like in the last 6 games or something, like they've struggled. They haven't scored goals, or something like that. And Isak has scored. Basically, Isak is so pivotal to their team. You take him out, and it's almost in a sense as losing Rodri. Maybe not quite as bad, but in terms of the goal threat, absolutely. because everything was really revolving around him, and it shows with the goals he scored last season. What was it, 23 league goals? Very high numbers for Newcastle. And take that out and don't have any number 9 replacement, you are going to struggle. Absolutely. Yeah. He's a key part of your system.
Yeah. What I would say to that is when you have a player who's too pivotal to your style of play, replacing them is sometimes the best thing to do. Because if you are completely reliant on one player, one injury, your season is fucked. Sometimes when you're so reliant on a player, you need to find a way to become less reliant on them. And if the only way to do that is to sell them and your entire system gets changed, then you should do that. Now, I don't think Liverpool gets Isak, not this year at the very least, but I think Isak will leave probably pretty soon from Newcastle. So their job is basically figure out what to do without Isak before he leaves. And I don't know if they can do that. Like Eddie Howe, I think he's a good manager. I don't think he's a great manager. So Newcastle don't look that strong to me this season. Now, it is at St. James Park, which always will be a difficult place to play, mostly because of the fucked pitch, as every professional keeps talking about, but they just ignore that. But anyhow, Savio. You heard about that guy recently?
Yeah, I've heard a couple of things.
Like Spurs seem to want him, and we seem to want Rodrigo, but we don't seem to want to sell him for 70 million euros. So now we're selling him for 80 million euros somehow.
If we sell him for 80 million, I don't even know what to say to Viana, because that is insane.
No. Because it's Soriano who blocked the move. Soriano, who is a financial guy, by the way, Soriano understands the market. Soriano blocked the move, presumably because he understood Arsenal was going to get Eze, which meant that Spurs would have to increase their bid, presumably. If this deal comes off, that's Soriano's work. And a lot of people don't like praising Soriano because they forget that we're the richest club in world football because of him. I don't know. A lot of people don't like to praise him, but he understands the markets.
Yeah, I didn't even think of that. He's done mint there. Then we signed Savio for 25 million euros, and it's
from
safe
our
to say
that club, to be fair,
from our sister club, and it's safe to say it didn't necessarily set the world alight last season. I was thinking, we maybe get like 60 million for him. In that region, he wasn't awful last season. The sparks were there of potentially really high levels. You just really need to nail his finishing and get him in an area where he can thrive. And it didn't quite work out last season. Now this season it could work for us, but look, 70 to 80 million for him is bonkers. It's 3 times more than what we paid, despite it being at a sister club. And it's a brilliant fee. That basically pays for Rodrigo. And if it doesn't, it's looking like the sale of Akanji will, if that ends up happening.
Because if Akanji leaves and Savio leaves, Akanji is 15 million, I believe. Is that the asking price? Yeah. Okay, so then 80 is 95 million, and Rodrigo allegedly is 100 million.
Yeah.
So then you throw in all the academy sales, which probably racks up to 5-10 million, and voila, Rodrigo is free.
Yeah, literally, it's an absolute freebie waiting for you. That we if we want Rodrigo, and Pep apparently loves this guy, according to Fabrizio's every tweet about him. Pep apparently loves Rodrigo, and Rodrigo doesn't. I'm not going to say he loves us, but he seems to be relatively fond. He speaks well of us. Go get him for free, basically. You've already agreed to sell Akanji. Okay, you're just waiting on personal terms now, Galatasaray. Savinho, if we accept the bid, Savinho will go. Because we know he's keen on the move. He's just not willing to break the bond he has with City at the moment. But the moment we say yes to Tottenham, he'll go. it's waiting for you. The ball is very much in our court the moment Tottenham hit send on that bid, and Rodrigo could very well be ours by sometime within the next week.
I think that is gone. You know what, yeah? Call me a conspiracy theorist. That this might already be a done deal, and they're just waiting for some PR reasons to announce it. They might have everything tied up already, but because we know how these clubs move. You remember when we signed Nico Gonzalez, and it was announced the second, like before the window closed. Like you really telling me that this deal was only completed 1 minute before the deadline? No, that deal was wrapped up days beforehand. But sometimes they make you wait for PR reasons. So I think that deal, if it's happening, I'm not saying it's happening, but if that deal is happening, it's already wrapped up, I think. By the way, Teal points out earlier on our points of Newcastle being too reliant on Isak. He also points out Chelsea. Chelsea without Palmer is also kind of fucked, aren't they?
I mean, yeah, to be fair, and in a weird way, it showed last season. Palmer didn't necessarily get injured, but he did go on that really on that big drop-up period. And in that period, Chelsea also considerably dropped off, because you got to remember, when Chelsea, before they dropped off, they were the closest team to Liverpool. They were never, I don't think they were ever going to catch them, but they were the closest, and they finished the league. Yeah, they finished the league, I think, just below us. You know, in our worst season.
Yeah, I think they've got 1 point less than us.
So.
And by the way, we kind of grumbled because we had no Rodri. We are in the same boat, to be fair. But I think now we can play without Rodri. We'll be better with Rodri, of course, but without Rodri, we're not going to lose. We're not going to go 1 win in 13, basically, which we literally did with Rodri, or without Rodri. So that's not going to happen with us anymore. What about Donnarumma, by the way? Right, let's talk about goalkeepers. Senne Lammens. Most of you don't know him. I fucking hate him. This guy, yeah, he is not a great goalkeeper, but when he plays against Brugge, you best believe he is Courtois. You best believe. When he plays against Brugge, when he plays against any big team, yeah, this man is Courtois. If you put him in net for Real Madrid in a Champions League final, he's about to make every fucking save. But then he plays against Villarreal in La Liga, and he's going to score an own goal by walking it in his own net or something. So I fucking hate Senne Lammens because he always shows up against big teams. He's someone who I feel like he's really good when he feels like being good. You know what I mean? When he's motivated to play, he's the best on the pitch. But when he's not motivated to play, you notice. You really do. And there's some stats going around that he got a certain amount of save percentage. And I am just going to say, that's the Belgian league. If you did the same statistics of Mignolet when he was younger in the Belgian league, you'd think Mignolet was prime Courtois. Courtois' statistics when he was in the Belgian league were insane, as they will be when you're a good goalkeeper in this league. So Senne Lammens, he's a very young goalkeeper, and a lot of people don't seem to realize this. He's linked to Man United, and Man City's links to Senne Lammens, they're most certainly just journalists talking about him to get Man United to pay up, because you don't want this guy to go to your rivals, do you now? So it's probably some agent's business there. I doubt we're actually involved. If we do get him, I think he can be a very good player if he's interested, if he's inspired. Because this is the thing, yeah? He doesn't like being at Antwerp. Because Senne Lammens comes through the Club Brugge Academy. And everyone in Belgium, except people from Antwerp, hates Antwerp. He doesn't like being there. He only plays in the big games because that's how you get a move, play in the games that people will look at. If you come to City and you're inspired to play, sure, you can be a good goalkeeper. But Now I'm thinking, you're a young goalkeeper here. We've already got Trafford there as a young goalkeeper. Are you going to start? Is Trafford going to start? I don't mind you guys fighting it out with each other, but what's the strategy here, long term, for our goalkeepers? I would rather get Donnarumma and just be certain Trafford is gone after 1 year, rather than get these two guys and then the fan base fights over who they want, and then you make one decision that seems abrupt. I don't mind Senna Lommens. If Ederson leaves, if Ortega leaves, I don't mind. Sure, you get him. I think when you look at those statistics, though, you need to take it with a grain of salt because it is the Belgian league. And look at James Dean Talby last season. The Belgian league has some horrid finishers. So, yeah, he's got good statistics. Let's see him in the Premier League. And I think he can be a decent goalkeeper in the Prem. I'm not sure how good he'll actually be or how interested he'll be to play. Some people just play football because it makes them rich. Some players don't care about the game, which I think shocks a lot of fans for some reason. Not every player cares, and I'm not sure if he cares. So if he comes to Man City, I'm sure we'll do background checks and all that stuff. I don't mind, but I'm just going to say, don't get too excited about him if we do sign him. Well, what's your thoughts?
I'm not going to sit like I watch him a lot because I don't. The first time I heard of him was literally the rumors earlier. But I mean, yeah, I hear he's decent. You know, he's obviously young. He's obviously potential. Like you said, though, it would be weird to have him and Trafford fighting it out. Sure, I'm all for competition. You know, competition is very much needed in squads, in my opinion. But like you said, it brings uncertainty, you know, for who's going to be your designated number one. You know, will Trafford be it? Will Salmons is his name?
Lemons.
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 Ah, there you go. You know, so it just brings up question marks on who's going to be number one or not. And yeah, so I'd much rather Donnarumma anyway, because Donnarumma, there wouldn't be as much of that conflict. And plus, there is that age gap between...
Oh, by the way, as well, I do think this is also important to point out. Senna Lommens, it's only his first full season at Antwerp last year. I think that's also important to point out.
Okay.
Because before that, he could not break through into Club Brugge first team, which is why we sold him. And at Antwerp, in 23-24, he was playing with the B team in his first season. So only last season, 24-25, was he the main guy at Antwerp. I forgot to say that.
All right, so he's still relatively new onto the big side of football as well. Then, and I'm curious. You know, if he goes to United, surely Onana goes. Because
they still have you. You know what's funny? They've got Onana. They've got this Bayinder guy or whatever his name is.
Yeah.
They had De Gea. This is what they bent off De Gea for. That's sad, isn't it? That's proper sad. But I love when sad things happen to United, so keep it going. But that's tragic if you're a United fan, isn't it?
On a free as well. That is rough. Yeah. Got Golden Glove and he got pinned off for it. Crazy work. But yeah, I mean, it could be one of those things where he goes to United and he just smashes it. You know, like you said, if he's interested enough in it, then yeah, he could absolutely smash it. Or it could be one of those things where it's another absolute stinker for United. You know, we know they're prone to them. So
I don't think he goes to United because a lot of Club Brugge fans, and again, he grew up a Club Brugge fan, a lot of Club Brugge fans are also Liverpool fans because Club Brugge and Liverpool have a very close relationship that dates back all the way to the 1970s when we played each other in every final ever, basically. We were playing each other in consecutive European finals. We lost both. Don't talk about that. But Club Brugge fans tends to be Liverpool fans as well. I doubt a Liverpool fan who goes to Man United if he's got better options available. That's what I'm thinking. And if I mean, sure, maybe he just says, you know what, they pay the most. A lot of players are like that as well, to be fair.
Yeah.
I don't think he'll go to Man United, to be honest. I think he'd rather wait, go to Serie A maybe, because in Serie A, he'd have a lot of defenses ahead of him, which means a lot of good statistics. Goalkeeper statistics in Serie A, you need to go look them up. They're proper funny because, like, you remove the statistics on like percentage saved, and you just look at how many goals that they concede and those type of statistics. Serie A goalkeepers look like they're goats, but it's just the defense mainly doing their job. Which is why Onana looked so good in Serie A, but then he comes to the Premier League where you actually don't have 5-5 in front of you all the time, and now you're conceding goals constantly. Almost like not every league is the same. But I don't know if you'll go to Man United. It just seems weird. Like, if you're a young, upcoming, promising player with probably the next 10 years ahead of you to still be at the top of football, are you going to a relegation contender? Especially if you're a Liverpool fan.
I mean, God, again, it really just depends on his mentality of that as well. Like, again, like you said, it could just come down to who's paying me the most. You know, it can very well just come down to that. It can come down to, I don't like Man United, I'm not going there. You know, it really just does. It can boil down to that. It really just depends.
Now, there's a goalkeeper, though, that we have both watched, which maybe we can comment more on, Donnarumma. No, not Edison. Donnarumma. Donnarumma is weird. A lot of fans either think he's the best goalkeeper in history or think he's the worst goalkeeper in history. It seems like it's no in between here. So what camp are you in? And you must pick an extreme camp, otherwise you're a fake fan, of course.
Yeah, obviously. I'm in the camp that he is the greatest keeper ever, because we would only sign the greatest ever. He's obviously a very good keeper. Like last year he was arguably the greatest keeper ever in that season. You know, his penalty saves are obviously very good, much like Trafford's, to be fair. And he seems like the ideal target for any club really looking for a goalkeeper this summer.
I'm just going to ask, did you watch Casillas in his prime? Or already too young?
Well, I think I was too young.
Yeah, because it's definitely not it's definitely not up for debate. There is no debate. Casillas is better. But sorry, continue.
But yeah, Donnarumma last season, arguably best keeper in the world. You know, did great things with PSG. You know, won a treble with them, and was key in their Champions League campaign. I hear some people say, I don't know if it's true or not, but I hear some people say like his league record isn't as good. Like he's a bit inconsistent when it comes to league, but in Champions League he tends to turn up. So, I mean, at the end of the day, I think of it, the best goalkeeper in the Champions League cannot be worse in my eyes than Edison of last season.
But we already have Trafford, though, and I think that's where fans are getting hung up.
Yeah, the Trafford thing is a weird one because Trafford's not that much younger. I know we've spoken about that. You know, it's not like we're signing.
I think he's 4 years younger, actually. How old is Trafford?
23 in October.
He's 3 years younger. Okay, yeah, he's not that much younger. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not the biggest age gap, you know. So it's not like Edison this season. How he's 31, he's getting in the latter stage of his career, and we'll move him on soon. Then Trafford becomes number one. Assuming Donnarumma joins and he hits ground running and whatnot, he's very well at the club for another 5 years at least, as our number one.
I do agree, but it's the thing though, because a lot of people do say, as you pointed out earlier, that his league form is inconsistent. Pep Guardiola will pick a goalkeeper based on league form, not based on Champions League or Cups. Because that's just the way Pep is. Pep loves his league. A league title, he'll marry it if he could. That's Pep. That's just what Pep does. Cups are secondary. Champions League is secondary. Give me the league title, and let's see what else we can win on the side. I think if he gets Trafford and Donnarumma is poor in the league, he will be benched. I think it's that simple. It's whoever is best in the league. Now, I don't think Donnarumma would be poor in the league because I think at PSG he might be poor in Ligue 1 because sometimes players have this attitude of it's Ligue 1, who gives a fuck? It's the Belgian league, who gives a fuck? I've seen this enough. It's Eredivisie, who gives a fuck? And then they come into Champions League. Oh, the big eyes are on me. Let's show what I'm doing. So when you go to the Premier League then, or La Liga, the two most well-respected leagues in the world, I'd say, at least at the moment. Then you maybe say, yeah, okay, now I'm in the big time. Now I care. So I do think when people say, oh, he's poor in Ligue 1, that sometimes ignores the mentality of a player, how much they care about the league they play in. Because when I see a player, who's consistently bad in the Belgian league, but always very good in the Champions League, the immediate conclusion I come to is, they don't care about the Belgian league, the club they play for, and whenever they get to a bigger club, they'll play really well. 9 out of 10 times, that's what happens. With Donnarumma, I wouldn't be surprised if he goes to the Premier League and suddenly he never makes a mistake again in the league. Hyperbole there for the less intelligent. Yeah, so I don't know. I do think he'll judge on league form, though, Pep.
It is, yeah. I did forget about that. It is interesting you mention it because I think, if my memory serves, obviously when Donnarumma joined PSG, I believe Keylor Navas was still at the club. You know, a crazy 2 goalkeepers to have at your roster. And I believe, if I'm not wrong, Keylor Navas played the league games, and Donnarumma, I think, played Champions League. So what you are saying there does kind of line up. It does kind of work in terms of that. Whether Donnarumma would be happy to do that when the Premier League is on the plate, because obviously the Premier League is like up there with the biggest leagues in terms of league football, except for La Liga, of course. You know, you could very well argue that he would want those games because it's the biggest.
It's the biggest stage in football, bar and international competitions. I mean, if you look at all football competitions by viewership, by average viewership per game, it's what you have to do because, of course, World Cup has less games. If you go by average viewership per game, then the Premier League has the highest, bar the World Cup, the Euros, and the Champions League. It's higher than Europa League, which only La Liga is also higher than Europa League. It's higher than, I mean, if it's higher than Europa League, it'll be higher than Conference League. But it's higher than La Liga, it's higher than Bundesliga, higher than Serie A. Premier League has the best viewership of any league. So when you take that into account, I do think, if you're a player, I mean, let's put it this way, right? If you're a football player, where do you want to play? If you really like to have the spotlight on you, where do you want to play?
In terms of just league football, you want to play Premier League and Champions League, and on an international level, World Cup.
Yeah, I think everyone wants to play World Cup. Yeah. So, I mean, side tangent. This is the thing, with the World Cup that nobody respects. People are like, oh, this tournament is harder than that tournament, or yada yada. The Champions League is better than the World Cup. It's a fact, Every single person who is a football fan, whether it be England, whether it be Thailand, whether it be Japan, I don't know, South Africa, the USA, Canada, Mexico, wherever in world football, if you are a football fan, the World Cup is what you want to win. No matter where. So a bit of a side tangent that's why the World Cup will always be the biggest trophy, because everyone wants it. Literally everyone. And that's the thing, When you come to bigger competitions, the more people want it, the more people fight for it. That's why in the Premier League, you've got such fierce players who are just going in for every tackle. Because people growing up in Belgium are watching the Premier League. If you go to Zulte Waregem, by the way, I got this thing. I went to Zulte Waregem recently. I got this. Very nice. If you go to SCV, you're going to find people wearing Premier League kits. And they're going to be in the home stand of Zulte Waregem wearing a Premier League kit. I saw someone with an Arsenal kit. I saw 3 people with a City kit. I saw a few people with a Man United kit. You go to Club Brugge right now, Jan Bredel, you're going to find people wearing Premier League kits. You go to the Netherlands, same thing. You go to La Liga, to Spain even, where you think it's La Liga, you're going to find people with Premier League kits. Everywhere in the world, people watch Premier League. I think that's a big deciding factor as well.
Yeah, the Premier League is the biggest in terms of league football. You know, like it's got like arguably like the biggest teams. Obviously, Real Madrid's in the league and Barcelona's there too. But like we've obviously got City, we got Liverpool, we got obviously Man United, who were giants before. Obviously, they've fallen away a bit now. Arsenal are rising a bit, but it's a very solid team at the moment. Chelsea, of course, and so, yeah, we'll be kind of throwing Tottenham as well. You know, and across that we got other clubs that are also very good too, like Newcastle and Villa. You know, and even Forest, who've got European history. You know, there's so many like, teams that are well known in the Premier League that people around the world are going to want to watch. And in the Liga, you know, they got considerable sized teams like Barcelona, Madrid, Atletico, you know, and then
Barcelona, Madrid. Take out Atletico because they were in second division when I was growing up, so they have not always been a big team. I know you can say the same thing about Man City, but Atletico is Diego Simeone and Pre. Or you can go back to the 1940s, but nobody cares. Was it 50s or was it 40s? Whenever they were good, I don't know.
Way before my time.
At my time, I'm not that adult. Calling me an uncle here. So that next time I complain about uncles, I'm going to be called out again. I'm only 23, come on. I'm not even in my prime yet. But no, I think when you look at all the leagues, it's very obvious to see. You've got La Liga, you've got Barcelona and Real Madrid in La Liga, and that's about it. Atletico will have one good period in 30 years, basically. You're going to have, in Bundesliga, it's Bayern München. It's just Bayern München. You're going to go to Serie A. Okay, you've got a bit more variety there, but they're broke as fuck, so nobody cares. And the football is harder to watch. Ligue 1 is PSG, FC. The Premier League, now you've got Liverpool, now you've got Arsenal, now you've got Man City, now you've got Spurs even. And even if these clubs aren't as big as in trophy winning or in just success historically or on the European stage sometimes, such as Arsenal, you know what all of these clubs have? Immense marketing.
Luke.
Hello.
Hello, big up. How are you?
Yeah, I'm at the station right now, so it's a bit loud, but just thought I'd join at least so you can see so much on my face.
So earlier we decided that it's either that Donnarumma is the best goalkeeper of all time or the worst goalkeeper of all time. What's your take?
Oh, we lost him.
I think his internet died, or maybe he's changing his phone screen. Luke will be back in a second. But I need to ask Luke if he beats Bevel in EAFC because obviously I've got a bet with Bevel running. And we've been waiting a while now. They just need to release this game. They take too long. Yeah. What were we talking about before Luke came in? I forgot.
Oh, better.
He lives.
Yeah.
Did you
I'm
beat
trying to
Bevil?
make it work, but it's been a bit weird. I'm trying to get my things to work, but yeah, I'll have to do it like this for now.
Did you beat Bevil?
I did, yeah, a few times. Yeah.
There you go. It's gonna be easy. It's gonna be easy. Oh, if I lose, by the way, I'm gonna edit this out of the stream.
Yeah.
Leave no clips. Leave no clips.
Try
Lou,
to.
what do you think about Donnarumma and Senna Lammens? Because I know you watch every football game ever, so obviously you are an expert on Senna Lammens.
Yeah, well, but then again, you told me how good he is, obviously, how much he annoys you at brother, so I'll be all right. All this stuff is waffle. I haven't been on the show for like 2 weeks, right? But the amount of waffle, the amount of regurgitation on this Rodrigo Donnarumma stuff, I'm bored of it already. It's honestly boring. Like, how have you made 2 transfers that we want to get in so boring? That's crazy. Yeah.
I think with Senna Lammens, I very much so doubt he goes to either Man United or Man City. I think it's just journalists or agents trying to hype up the journalists in order to get Man United to pay up. I think that's all that's happening with him.
Yeah.
Donnarumma, do you think he's coming though? I think that's a more interesting one.
My head's saying no, because the way it's going, like, the Edison news died down massively for some reason. Like, now it's just a candy, go running at Edison thing, and that's why. So I don't know what's going on there. So it's like 1 minute we're hearing one thing and then another thing. So, but the thing is, I don't want a keeper here who isn't going to be committed to the club. And people who are overacting with Trafford as well, saying, oh, got Trafford number 1, even though he's like experienced at a top level. A lot of our fans need to realise that we actually need an elite goalkeeper and allow Trafford to actually grow as a keeper before we get him number 1. Because, again, I'll say it again with the fan base, one mistake or one bad game, and be getting cut non-stop. He will be getting cut non-stop.
Absolutely.
I'd rather get Trafford that time to develop with an elite goalkeeper Donnarumma for at least a year or 2, and then a couple of years' time, he's number 1 then.
Yeah.
That's what I think, yeah.
I would like Donnarumma. I don't think he's my priority, though. It's a mixed feeling for me. I think more important is a right back, but I'm barking up the moon here. That's not going to happen. Anyhow, I've waited to talk about Spurs until you came on, so let's get to Spurs. As we now know a Southampton fan here, somehow related to Spurs. Both start with an S, you know, unless you go with Tottenham. I'm joking, by the way. Luke is sort of...
NW.
I'm joking, by the way. Luke is sort of Southampton fan, because I know someone is going to run with that.
Yeah, right.
You just have to give up sometimes, and Spurs. I think, honestly, if we can take Gurus out of the game, we're going to batter them. Because Spurs has nobody but Gurus. No offense, I'm not very scared of Richarlison. I say when he goes and scores a bicycle kick. But Richarlison does not scare me. But then Johnson does not really scare me. Kulusevski doesn't scare me. Paulinho is good, but he's the only one in their entire midfield. Defensively, they're okay, but our attack is very good, so I don't think that will save them. I think we take Gurus out of the game. We're going to absolutely hammer the Spurs.
Yeah, I agree on that. Because our attack right now, I mean, look, I think we're the same team as Wolves. I think he's going to play a certain team and then pass up like Cherky down the line. I just feel like everyone thinking that Cherky will play every game. Yes, he's a number 10 shirt. It's going to be a bedding in time. I think Carabao Cup games also going to get a full start. They won't be the same team. I think he needs to work out the best attack, what works for each game. I think because Wolves are Tottenham, a whole different game, whole different setup, whole different tactical setup. Frank's made that round to obviously Pereira is, but Frank's obviously got a star player that beat us a number of times before Brentford. It's all about, to me, I think I don't want to see Rodri play and start the game. I get what minutes, I don't want to see if we see him starting the game, I'm immediately worried there because Basuma and Sarr and Bentancur are gonna kick the shit out of him. Because they will. That's Tottenham to a T. So I would probably say start a similar team to the last game, but I just I guess we'll see what happens. But I imagine Freddie will be on the bench, probably the same sort of attack. Maybe the Mamush comes in someone, but as long as we sort of keep a strong team and go for it, I'm all for it really.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking as well. How do you stop Kudus? Because I think that's where our setup is going to be different from against those Wolves game. Because this is just going to be orientated at stop Kudus, minimize space in midfield, and then you can win the game basically. Because just trust your attack. And for me, you let that attack do what they want, and you win the game or you score basically. So my conclusion to stopping Kudus is, Man City fans aren't going to like this. You put Bernardo Silva on the pitch, and the reason why is because Bernardo Silva can come down to the left back spot if you're defending, and Nouri is going to push up very high. We know that when Nouri pushes up high, you need somebody to cover that area. That will be Bernardo Silva, I think. And then Bernardo Silva can stay deeper, by the way. He can push someone else higher up, which means that Bernardo Silva can just stay deep, not be in the attack too much, which is good because he never passes forwards. And then when Kudus goes forward, Spurs goes forwards, you can come back and Nouri and Silva can double up on Kudus. And I think there's no one really in Spurs that will consistently create a threat for us. So you can easily double up on Kudus, take him out of that game, and stop Spurs from creating anything, really. So that's how I think you stop Kudus from having any impact. What do you think, Connect, as we've lost Luke?
Yeah, I mean, I watched the PSG game with Tottenham and PSG, obviously, and I obviously know that PSG, that Tottenham battered. They played Burnley, didn't they? And yeah, the player I was most impressed with was Kudus, to be fair, in the PSG game. So yeah, I definitely think this game is going to heavily revolve around Kudus, and not to disagree with your game plan, but more so to just throw in a different one and at the same time, just to throw a spanner in the works, I guess. A player for me that I always trust when you're looking to lock down a player is, especially on that flank, is Nathan Ake. I think he can lock down something. He's locked down Salah before, and he's locked down Saka, two of the best wingers in the league, if not the. Those two on the right are arguably the best in those positions. And Kudus is very good. The only thing I will say is Kudus tends to drift in a bit more. Like he'll press at least the striker area and the right wing area. Kudus, and probably somewhere in the midfield to help out a little bit too. He's a pressing machine, Kudus, from what I watched of him. And I don't think that's going to be an exception. I think he's going to bring the punch. So if you can lock it down with Ake, someone that isn't going to go too far forward, and also throw in Bernardo just in case to add that additional support when Kudus is trying to bring us some hurt. I think that can deal with Kudus. And then Bernardo can also cover wherever else Kudus is trying to press to. If Kudus starts pressing the centre-backs, he can help out there.
But would you then start putting Ake ahead of Nouri, though? That's because I don't mind that. On paper, that sounds fine. But I want Nouri to be playing. And I reckon Pep wants Nouri to play as well.
Yeah, that's the one thing. I'm going back to starting a centre back at left back.
I think he's a better left back and he's a centre back, though, so I don't mind.
Yeah, to be fair, yeah. But yeah, I want Aït-Nouri to play. Because I think Aït-Nouri is great. I just worry what Kudus can do when he's given space. And Aït-Nouri, as you've mentioned, likes to go forward. Okay, and obviously, like you said, Bernardo can help cover. But if Kudus gets that space, I feel like you're going to be on the edge of your seat, a bit nervous the moment he starts getting down there, because he does tend to create. That's the thing. He's a very good baller, Kudus. Last season was an off season for West Ham.
So, how do you solve that while still playing Nuri then? Do you change up midfield? Do you drag Nico Gonzalez down? What do you do then?
You either have to, you've either got to play, obviously, Nuri, and then play Ake at left centre-back, and then as Nuri goes forward, you shift it to a back three, and with Bernardo then helping out as well, keeping Ake just defensively solid and still sticking in that area, whilst also having Bernardo slipping in to make sure the defence is still somewhat keeping its shape whilst Nuri's gone.
Sure, but here's the problem with that, though, because when you play that way, with a left-sided centre-back who takes the left-back role in a counter, that means Nuri will drift into the centre-back spot, which this is why it's worked in the treble season, because Ruben Diaz or Stones would be on the left-back area, and they would be covering, slowing the counter down, and then Ake would drift into the centre-back spot, and that's fine because he's a centre-back.
Yeah.
But if you have Ake at left-sided centre-back trying to slow down that counter, now Nuri is coming back to slot into that centre-back spot. And you can't have Nuri come to the left-back area, because now you've got 3 players on Kudus, which is just a recipe for disaster. Even if they don't have great players otherwise on the pitch, they still have players on the pitch, right? Even if they're not great. So you can't triple up on him. And you can't have Ake pull off either. You can't have Nuri come back, Ake pull off. Because the moment you pull off the deepest defender, the winger is going to notice that. He's going to go forward and he's going to try to either cross inside or cut inside and shoot from a tight angle, which I think Kudus is very good at, by the way. But Luke, what's your idea on stopping Kudus?
I think for me, obviously, for me, right, to start with, 8 stories, we can't defend narrative that Tommy put out was stupid. Like, the guy from when happens in the game was brilliant. Despite obviously being up against, especially being obviously his old team away from Brighton in the first game of the season. It's brilliant. I think he'll do a lot better than a lot of left backs that had previously. I think I do trust him in Kudus, but I think you've got to have some support from him as well. So someone like Diaz or someone's got to give him a hand of it, because again, Kudus is a very, very good player. You've got to respect him. So hopefully we get a little bit of cover there, but it's more of a case of like trusting the defence really to sort of do the job, because last season was terrible, we know that, but I think it's well worth giving this new back for whoever plays a chance to sort of, just because I mean, it was Vardy playing left back. I know that was a little bit more concerned. I think, it's a hard one, but I think I want to say Nuri. I want to trust him. I would do very well.
I do think you bring up a good point though with Vardiol, because if you have Vardiol there, now I think that works better than if you have Ake there, because you could have Vardiol in this left side centre back spot with Nuri, and Nuri could come back, and they could double up, and then you could have someone slot into a centre back spot. The reason I don't think that works when you have Ake is because Ake gets sides to play when he defends, and Vardiol will lay off a bit. So I think when Vardiol lays off a bit, he'll enter the box slowly and he'll just slow it down, whereas Ake will try to win the ball back. And that's where I think the problem lies, right? Ake will try to win the ball back, and winning the ball back, sure, usually he'll get the ball. But if you win the ball back, and now or if you don't win the ball back, and now Nuri is in that centre back spot, that's a disaster, I think. But if you have Vardiol, he'll back off, and just slow it down. He won't try to win the ball back. He'll just back off and get into position, slow things down, which I think is the main difference. But Vardiol is not fit, so that doesn't work. My solution, I said this earlier, but we lost you, and Man City fans don't like this, is Bernardo Silva plays in midfield and goes down to left back spot. I think that's a natural solution, and then they can double up on Kudus.
I agree.
I guess we play Nico Gonzalez and Reinstein in midfield to keep solidity there and keep fine transition.
Outright. Let's be real. Bernardo Silva is still a very, very good player. He's crap. Last year was crap. Like, I don't call it unk, but I think he's not really the player that everyone should be going on about. Like, it's more good to add more Bernardo Silva. Like, Bernardo Kovacic's still good enough players to play on the field, but I think at the Wolves, he's brilliant. I think the captain's armband really gives him more responsibility on the ball or part of the team. I think him playing left back to help out, I think will definitely do a lot of good, a lot of energy as well in midfield. So I think, I agree with you. I think you've got to have that sort of cover because, again, on the counter attack, Tottenham will be up there. You know, Brennan Johnson, Kudus, obviously, Beats Lanky, Ricardo up front. It's going to be obviously the tell as well. So it's all about having that cover, on those counters.
I don't think any of the unks individually were the problem. I don't think that Silva was the problem, or Gundogan, or Kovacic, or De Bruyne. I think it's the fact that we had all four in midfield at the same time. So I think if any four of those were still at the club, let's say Silva and Gundogan left, I think we'd be just fine.
Yeah.
I mean that's a completely different subject. This is a difficult question then. Who do you play in midfield against Spurs? Because a lot of people want Cherki, Reinders, and I guess Gonzalez, because I don't want Rodri to start. So a lot of people want that midfield. Connect was saying that that Cherki might play on the right, I think you said. Is that what you said?
No.
Okay, sorry. You can say that again. Then I guess I misunderstood.
In terms of the right, I'm not too sure who you play because I think Van der Ven is Tottenham's. Does Van der Ven play left back for Tottenham? I think it's
no, it's what's his name? Jet Spence.
Yeah, Jet it's Porro Spence, isn't it? Or was it?
Yeah.
Spence,
I think
Spence
Udogie is injured.
Yeah, he is, isn't he?
Yeah.
Spence is good, and obviously, I think in that last 6 months of the season, he really performed for Tottenham.
It's better than Bob, though.
That's the thing. I love Bob, and so I think I'd want him on the right. It's no bias at all. No, joking. If there's any player I'm biased towards, it's probably Bob. I just absolutely love him. And I really would like to see him on the right again because I think Spencer's good, but I think Bob is so tricky. Like you saw against Wolves, like there were like 4 players like trying to get it off him, and you're just weaving around them. Didn't necessarily beat them all and go for a shot, but you're just weaving around them, not losing the ball, and then eventually passed it and made a decent opportunity. That's just what Bob can do, and there'll be instances where he maybe gets an assist through that as well. He's so tricky, and
then he gets the assist to Reinders.
He did get an assist for Reinders, yeah. He did end up doing that, which was an amazing goal from Reinders, by the way. Really good shot. But yeah, I want to see Bob because I think Bob is top.
I agree. And I do think he'll play. I do think Bob will play. So
yeah.
I guess I mentioned what you said earlier then. You did say something about Cherki. I guess I forgot. But then what are we going for in midfield here? My personal midfield is going to be Nico Gonzalez, Reinders, and Silva. That's going to be my midfield.
So keep it simple because having Cherki in now, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I think it's a time and place to add him in for a home game. Right now, I want the same midfield as last game. 1-4 away from home, feeling good, keep momentum going, and then add Cherki in off the bench, maybe about an hour in to give them more minutes. Because it's very easy for us to debate all of our creative players, but again, we need someone we need energy in the midfield as well. So it's a kind of game where you want that consistency.
And I don't know if this makes sense, but I think that making your debut away from home is easier. Because in an away game, if you lose, or making your first start, should I say, in an away game, if you lose, people will say, "Oh well, it's a tough game on the road." But people will more likely say that when you play like, say, St. James Park. People are going to say, "Oh well, that's a tough place to play away." So if you get a bad result, whereas if you lose at home at your first start, now people are going to say, "Wow, what a terrible performance at home." So I think maybe sometimes it's better to get your first start in an away game.
Oh, I'm FPL man. I've just seen Palmer's out of the game, so Palmer fancy team. God damn it!
Oh wait, what's his name? I don't think I forgot about that.
Yeah, West Ham playing Chelsea. So, honestly, bro, I had Palmer on my team. It's like, God damn it, injured now. no more G&A for me now. Then again, that was it 1 goal since August last year. So am I really doing all the start of the year? So I'm already going to need him. But,
anyway, by the way, Rosa puts in no defense on the bench. Then we were talking earlier about Akanji leaving. We have Husinov.
Okay.
I consider Akia left back. I don't think he'll play centre back.
Husinov,
we have
Stones,
Peter Hayes, who we can bring back on loan at any point. We have John Stones, who's not injured yet.
He's still around.
He's alive.
For now.
We've got Juma Bar, who we can bring back on loan. We've got Guardiol, Diaz.
Yeah.
We've got 4 centre backs at the club right now. Sure, you can throw in Aki if Stones gets injured. So that's 3 centre backs and 2 halves with the injuries they get at the club right now. If you have 4 players in the same position and you still have an injury crisis, you can't have 20 centre backs, no. Especially not if they're Akanji. Akanji is not a defender on the bench. Akanji is a striker for opposition teams on the bench. He does not defend. He just does not. So, no offense to Akanji, I think he's had 1 great season with the treble. But I think a lot of players here, when they won the treble, it was lights out. I think Akanji is one of them. No offense to him. Yeah. I think it's just...
Bro, how do you see how much they're offering in a week in Turkey? 50k a week. 350k.
What?
Take it, bro.
Yeah. I don't blame him if he goes.
I'm on that plane already if I'm Akanji.
Yeah, what's he thinking about? Oh my lord.
Go.
He's doing the best. He's doing the best.
Bro, our money back and he gets the bag. You know,
mate, his yearly salary, I think that adds up to more than what Galatasaray are paying for him. That's crazy.
Just do it.
Yeah.
Bro, go out there, right? For a couple of years, think about to Europe again for a bit, but in Germany, cook there, and then retire. Why not? I mean, just do it.
I'm just the same thing. Looking up the wages right now of Akanji, and you want to know what the wages are of Akanji at Man City?
80k.
Maybe 100.
You're both correct technically if you combine your answer. 180k. So he's doubling his wages by going to Galatasaray.
Oh, we were paying how much in a week?
180.
180.
Rodri's on less than that.
Rodri is on 200k.
Cheeky. Honestly, if you're on about get out. Get out of him. Yeah. Wage bill cut in half.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, you know what? I think we need to do something very smart here and send some money from the UAE over to Istanbul. Corruption is only bad if I'm not involved.
Of course.
So get him off our books, but of course we'll pay his wages illegally. But the Premier League doesn't know that, so it's fine. As long as nobody knows. No, Akanji, I don't think he adds depth, to be honest. No offense to him. Where some of the fan base hates Donnarumma and Rodrigo so? Oh, why? Why do the fan base hate
Because the fan base is weird. Sorry, they're weird. Look, I get Trafford, I get the idea of having number 1, but let's be real here. Trafford is 22 years old. You just play at Burnley. Don't be wrong, Player of the Year, well deserved for last season. But you're going from the Championship to Premier League and Champions League. The level is already gone twice as big as it was beforehand. If he makes mistakes, he'll get cooked. Not by us, because we'll understand that he's a young keeper that needs time to. But he's by the way, he's a bad, by the way. I think he's pretty good. But again, there'll be games where at the Bernabeu, at Bayern Munich, at certain grounds, whole different atmosphere, whole different level of pressure. You need someone used to that pressure, i.e. Donnarumma.
Yeah, I agree, but then at the other end, it's like, but I want to see Trafford. Honestly, I don't care if you get him or not. I'm just so split on it.
No. If he's number one, I'll back him. I'm not going to say I don't want number one.
I will also back him. If he comes, I'll back him because I know he's great. But if we don't get him, I'm not going to care. I'm not going to cry about it.
Exactly.
Yeah. He's a very good keeper, Donnarumma. But yeah, like you said, the jump is there, and it can be a bit sink or swim for certain players. Like I think Trafford, I'd back him and say swim, and he'd do it. But yeah, like you said, it could just be a case of if Donnarumma does come, let Donnarumma have those bigger games and let's say Premier League and Champions League, but then Trafford obviously get the cup games, and hopefully, all being well, Trafford will maybe get a tough game away from home in the FA Cup or something, where he can be tested at a level where he's not going to get criticised as much. I think it would be good as well if we got Donnarumma, that is.
I think we're about to lose Luke because he just left the station and that shows you when your Wi-Fi goes.
I'll try. What I'll do is I'll come back out and try to get back into Wi-Fi again. But obviously, when I end the stream, that's all good. I'll try and get back in if I can. But I'm gonna preempt it now. All right. So I'll see you in a bit.
Yep.
Luke.
Yeah, I was like, he's leaving the station. I know he's gonna get disconnected. Because you know what I do, yeah. Because in Brugge, in our station, you got Wi-Fi, and like the Wi-Fi extends all the way up to like a certain pole, like it's like a pole tailored like lights, because people don't know this. Trains also have red lights and green lights, and like at one of those poles, it's like just where the Wi-Fi stops. It's always the moment you pass that, Wi-Fi gone. It goes from great Wi-Fi to no Wi-Fi. So it's very annoying actually, because sometimes you're working on something, you're trying to get something in just before that the Wi-Fi goes, and then it's done. Luckily though, this is why I always use what's it called, Google Docs, because it's constantly saving. So if the Wi-Fi goes, it's still there online, and then you can just pick up later. Anyhow, that's got nothing to do with anything. I guess last topic here to round up on. Actually, I'll come back to this later. Our second to last topic to round up on then. Man City against Spurs predictions.
Oh man, gosh, it really can go a weird way, can't it? Spurs are a bogey team. It's 12:30 kickoff. I don't like 12:30 kickoffs. They tend to stink. And Kudus is my main concern when it comes to the attack. And I think Thomas Frank is a decent coach too. I think that this will be... I think that this is going to be a convincing... I think it's going to be 2-0. Okay, Tottenham are Warriors. Okay, it's going to be a tricky start, just like Wolves was. That first half an hour wasn't easy. And it'll be a tricky start against Tottenham. We'll get a goal before half-time. The second half might start similar, and then in similar fashion, we'll get another goal, and then we'll be able to chill. But yeah, I think I'm going to go strong. I'm going to say a 2-0 win.
Yeah, I think a 3-1 win, because I've got a bit of the same idea, right? I think we're going to dominate in the first half. I think we're going to have more intensity than the first half. I think we're going to press high, try to get the early goal. We'll succeed at some point. And I think we'll take a lead, 1-0. And once we've got to 1-0, they have to push up more. And once we do that, we actually countered this season. Hallelujah. Once we do that, I think we're going to start just countering them to bits, and we're going to go 3-0 up, because nobody expects Man City to be countering, by the way. We did it one game, but people won't be expecting it. It will take the Premier League some time to actually realize that we're doing it. Spurs is going to get a bit arrogant, I think, when they're pushing up, and suddenly they'll get countered. We'll make it 2-0, and then we'll just get 3-0 eventually. By the way, I'll go with Haaland brace. Haaland or brace and Marmoush a goal, so that the dog will stand shut up. And then the second half will be the most boring, stinky, average early kickoff half of all time. And there's going to be a stinky goal from Brennan Johnson, who will come off the bench. Because it's always one stinky player that scores against Man City.
Yeah.
So that's how I think the game goes. By the way, where is Luke? Jessica, how old is these? How old are these Jets? Luke is well, I guess you guys saw Luke already. Smash the likes, yes, big up, thank you, Leah. Today the Bundesliga starts on Friday. They have the third game of the season on Friday.
Friday.
Yeah, Bayern München winning 2-0 against Leipzig. Michael Olise and Luis Diaz with the goals. Harry Kane still bottling every big game. I mean, that's just Kane, isn't it? Prediction, West Ham, Chelsea. Yeah, these are quite old. That game was 30 minutes ago that started. West Ham is winning. Lucas Paqueta, 1-0.
Yeah, I managed to actually catch a glimpse of the goal. I've got it. I've not long got it. It looked like an absolute banger from him, to be fair. I think... Oh, is it 1-1?
No. That's my prediction.
There you
go. Sorry, I interrupted you for my prediction.
Yeah, I think Sanchez, though, in typical fashion, probably could have done better. His positioning wasn't great. He seems to have been, in fairness, he looks like he got caught off a little bit. He was like sidestepping one way, and then as he was doing that, Paqueta shot into the other far corner, which probably caught him off a little bit. But yeah, it looks like they're winning here. Chelsea are all over them though, so it wouldn't surprise me if they find a way back into the soon. Yeah, but yeah, it was a good goal, to be fair, from Paqueta.
Yeah, so Chelsea holds that. Why do you hate Sané Lammens, his youth product of Club Brugge? Yeah, and he always performs well against us. So he's salty that he got bent off for Northern Jakkers. Talk about a Club Brugge youth product, yeah? He got bent off for Northern Jakkers. So that's why he's salty. That's why he hates us. So I hate him back. Man United are frauds. Yes. Nothing going on with City, and that keeper confirmed by Fabrizio. Okay, he's going United. Nah. He's not going United either. Yeah. By the way, the Belgian league is fucking fraudulent, I swear down, yeah.
Oh, 1-1.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Now keep the score even, and my prediction will come true. The Belgian league is such a fraudulent league, bro. Club Brugge doing bits, and every other team in the world, or in Belgium, is just saying, nah, thanks. Genk won 1-5, so, against Lech Poznan. But they don't count. Screw them. Big up to Ethan, by the way, in chat. Casillas Grace in the big 2025. I mean, he was good. Why are you busy? Because I've got a live. Where are? Luke lost connection. Big up Adam. Jan Bredel is sold out against Rangers. Jan Bredel has been getting sold out every match day for the past few years now. We've known for a while that Jan Bredel is too small, which is why we've been trying to build a big stadium for 16 years, and we keep getting out of it denied. Thank you, Belgian government. But I find this funny, yeah? All the time, yeah? Literally every single European game of Club Brugge, the stadium sold out. Are you surprised? We have known that stadium is too small for 16 years. We've been trying to build us bigger one for 16 years. But the government is not allowing us to build a bigger one. Why is this a surprise?
What is your
People-
capacity?
Sorry?
What is your capacity?
I think 32,000. I should probably know this, shouldn't I? I don't know the Etihad's capacity either, to be
I think
honest.
it's like 55. Oh, 2-1. Prediction over.
I don't care as long as Jan Bredelt, War Hero, no thanks. I mean, stadium. It's 29,000. It's 29,000. So, and we're trying to build a new one that will be 41,000. So that's a pretty big jump.
Yeah.
But you know what thing is, yeah? That will get sold out instantly. Like that stadium, because you know what's crazy? I think, if I'm not mistaken, we have 24,000 season ticket holders for a stadium of 29,000 capacity.
That's crazy. What?
And season ticket holders struggle to get their tickets sometimes for the European games. Which, imagine being a season ticket holder and you can't always get your tickets.
Oh my lord, that is nuts.
So-
24,000.
And our stadium it's 29,000 capacity, which just doesn't make sense, does it? Which is why we need that bigger stadium. To be fair, they also made a mistake by increasing it, I think, because it used to be, was it 18,000 or was it 20,000? And they increased the season ticket holders because they thought the new stadium would be getting built and ready for the next season. And then the government did a full 180 and said, no, you can't build stadium here. And we were like, oh, thank you for informing us 1 week before we began construction. Literally 1 week before we began construction. Always fun, isn't it, the government?
Always. Always great wherever they are.
Internet's holding strong, but I'll definitely go at some point. Big up Alf, big up Connect, and the chat. I'll be back probably next week. Big up Luke, beat Bevel to show Bevel that he's a fraud. I will do the same shortly. Niklas Fulkrug, by the way, scored for once. This Fulkrug guy is the funniest striker of all time.
Yeah, he hasn't, by the way, it's been turned over.
Oh, fuck off. Fuck this Fulkrug guy. God, he's always offside, isn't he? He's that striker that always offside. I should have known. I shouldn't have celebrated. I should have known he's going to be offside. It's just... You know how they say it's the history of the Tottenham? It's the history of the Fulkrug. It's the same difference. It really is. But nah, to round up on now, this was up a little bit. Do you think the fan base has probably lost it? Because I was doing a stream with Galkster and I got called a happy clapper. So, for anyone who's been around my channel for a while, you know why that's ridiculous. So, do you think the fan base has completely lost it?
I mean, again, it really whittles down in my eyes to a tweet that Luke put out. I believe you actually responded to it as well. Last season has done damage to the fan base that probably not irreversible, but damage that will be long lasting for some time now. Like, I've never seen such division, you know. I find it funny that you're being called a happy clapper when I believe, you'll correct me if I'm wrong, you were somewhat pep out since Feyenoord.
I was completely pep out since Feyenoord. I was somewhat pep out after the Sporting.
There you go then. You know, it's just
happy clapper, by the way.
Yeah, you just, and the funny thing is, if you said, I didn't watch stream, but if you said the opposite thing to whatever caused you to get called a happy clapper, the likelihood is someone else would have probably called you something else, like a worry wart or something like that, you know?
Toxic and negative.
Yeah, you know, you can't win.
You know why I think I was called a happy clapper? Because I praised Bernardo Silva quite a bit, and Pep Guardiola as well in that stream. I praised Pep Guardiola, guys. I can admit when I'm wrong, guys. Oh my god. People admitting that they're wrong. Oh my god. No, but I think that's why I got called a happy clapper, because I praised Pep and I praise Bernardo Silva. I think that's why. That's the only reason why I think I wouldn't be called a happy. I literally have no idea why I would be called a happy clapper otherwise.
Yeah,
The Brighton fans agree with me.
yeah, they're out there.
But yeah, I think Luke is right, to be honest, about the fan base. I think he's completely right. So yeah, how do you think the fan base will be if you lose this game?
It could be semi meltdown again. You know, like
Just
genuinely. I'm being generous. I'll get called a happy clapper. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, people are just going to complain, and you know, it could be a loss in any sort of fashion, and there will be groups that will complain about everything. And to be fair, when you lose, there's probably going to be some just criticism, but man, I just miss the days where we would criticize and not like hate and leave like threats. Oh, 2-1 Chelsea, and whatnot. You know, there will be some sort of meltdown. Whoever messes up will be getting called to be sold and whatnot. You know, Trafford, if he messes up, he'll be slated. If Gonzalez, if Nico loses the ball in the middle of the midfield, he'll get slated big time. You know,
people will then start saying that he should have been sold.
Yeah, you know, someone will complain at some of something, and they'll be just saying, "Oh, we never should have signed him in January," or "Oh, we should have sold him when we had the chance."
I'll go even more extreme. Every win, some people will refuse to admit that we played a good game. Every win.
Yeah, there will be that group. You know, they'll be like, "Oh, lucky," and something like that. Lucky.
I mean, to be fair, we could have a really lucky win, but I mean, player, even if we play 4-0, great game, people will complain.
Yeah, it's just gonna happen. And beforehand, stuff like this never really happened.
I mean, you know what we used to do in the treble season, because I distinctly remember the treble season is when I started following football YouTube. Because before the treble season, I watched Man City, I watched Club Brugge, sometimes Barcelona and Real Madrid, and that was done with football for the week. So the treble season is when I really started following football YouTube and watching other teams and stuff. And I remember every time we won a game, a scummy game, people would say, "Oh yeah, the result matters." Nowadays, I feel like people don't care about the result anymore. They care about the agenda.
Yeah, it's like I remember like. We'll go back to treble season, for example. If, let's say, treble season, okay, it's match day 34, it's really tight at the top of Liverpool or something, and it's Tottenham away, okay? Treble season, everyone would be like, get a goal and hold on and just get the win. You know, get the 3 points and everyone's happy.
I mean, even in the fourth beat season, we played like shit against Tottenham in the fourth beat season, but we won 2-0.
Yeah.
And people are happy. It was the result that mattered. Now, if we do that, people will complain.
Yeah, they'll look at the performance, but like you said, the results win you leagues. You know, the winning in the tough games. Okay, even when you're playing poor, is what makes you win leagues. Okay, City fans know that, and to some level, Liverpool will also get that too. I feel not as hard as us, because whenever Liverpool won it, not to criticise them, but they've won it by a good margin. But in certain seasons with us, it's been neck and neck.
Oh, don't you know about the Man City Liverpool title race?
Oh yeah, thinking
we won most of them, though. To be fair.
Yeah.
I still remember when I brought that up on Liam's stream, and that was like the most offhand thing ever, because he was obviously talking about like 1920, 17, 18, 18, 19, and I randomly brought up, did you know in 1976 we were in a title race with Liverpool? Like, yeah, nobody cares, mate. But and yeah, I think that's a good note to leave it off because clearly nobody cares. So, with that said, my predictions are 3-1. Your predictions are 2-0, I think you said.
Yep,
Who's
2-0
scoring the
sticking to it.
goals?
Oh yeah, scoring. Didn't say do I. With no bias at all, Oscar Bob Brace.
No bias at all. And who's
No
getting the
bias.
assists then? Haaland's double assist.
If Bob could get them, I saw him too. But nah.
Bob assisting himself.
Yeah.
He's passing the ball off the back of Van de Ven.
He'll pass it to the post and it'll click back to him and he'll score.
Legendary.
I'll go that he gets 1 goal because of bias. And then I'll say that Marmoush gets the other with a Haaland assist on that one. And with no assist on Bob's. Bob's going to get a rebound goal.
Okay, there you go. Trying as hard as you can to say Bob getting his own assist. As close as possible. Did you know that Messi got like an assist to his own goal? Like in an official stats, but they changed it. I can't remember why it was. I think he won the penalty, and he scored the penalty, and they listed it as an assist for Messi. So even though he won the penalty himself, but like obviously winning a penalty does not count as an assist, not in official statistics. But they changed that later. That was very dumb. They had to change it because of Outlash. But they're trying so hard to push Messi in it. Anyhow, that's got nothing to do with anything. We'll leave it there. Thank you for coming on Connect. Thank you for coming on Luke. Coming in and out because of train Wi-Fi. But thank you for coming in anyhow. And he will be back next week as usual. Let's see if Connect can make it next week. This is a very fun game. This is always a very fun game to play. Can all 3 of us make it? So far, I've always been able to make it. But there will be a point when I can't make it. What should I do if I can't make it, by the way? Do I just cancel the stream or do I make you two go live in my set? Just set you to the subjects and say, go live, do your best.
Yeah. Yeah, what would we do in that event?
I guess you just go live on your or Luke's channel, or you just cancel it. That's up to you two, really, isn't it?
Yeah, it'd probably just whittle down to that, yeah, to be honest.
Yes. Anyhow, I'll leave it there. Thank you for coming on, both Connect and Luke. We're redirecting to Liam, so stick in here, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye.